Today we're going to look at using money to learn about ones, tens, hundreds, and thousands, and vice versa. So a great thing you can do is you can just, get out some money and have the kids start sorting it. And as they're sorting it, you want to point out the value of each of the coins. And as you have that value, you can have them do some trades. So if you are doing trades and you want to have, say, here's something like 47, you can do some trades and say, okay, well, I have 7 pennies, but if I take out 5 pennies, I can trade that for a nickel because those are equal. So 1 penny is equal to 1 penny, and 5 pennies is equal to 1 nickel, so I can trade those out. And so here they're learning about how 1 coin could have a value equal to a number of other coins. So that is still 47 cents. So I'm going to go ahead and trade this back. So when you're doing those trades, you can also do, okay, I'm going to take 10 pennies and stack these 10 pennies, and I can trade that for a dime, which is the same as 10 pennies. So that's really a better representation of 10 because it's just one item equals 10, just like 1 dime, 10 pennies. So you can trade those, but I'll go ahead and trade those back. So these would be equivalent trades. So there's another activity that I like to do is how many different ways can you make a quarter? And so with dimes, nickels, and pennies, all the different ways to make a quarter. And then I've pulled out a bunch of these quarters, all different states, different designs of quarters. And as we're working with the money, what I like to have the kids do, and here's an example, is they do put the coin underneath, and then they lightly go over with colored pencil, and then they can see the outlines of the coin. So they're learning about the coins, and they're learning about the value, and then they're becoming familiar with them. This is Frederick Douglass quarter, and I also have one here from South Carolina, and then there's the usual ones, the pennies, the dimes, the nickels, and here you have Lady Liberty, the dollar. And so as kids are learning and working with the money, and I've found that when you use pennies, it's actually cheaper than buying the play money because the pennies are actually, the play money is actually worth more than the real money when you get to dealing with the pennies. So when you're doing this, then we want to go ahead and start trading up. So when we have 100 pennies, we show the kids 100 pennies, so these are each 50. I stacked up 50, my other stack of 50 fell. And so the different ways we can make 100 pennies is by counting by 25s, 25, 50, 75, $1. Counting by 10s, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100, or counting by 5s, 5, 10, 15, 20, and so on. So they're learning to do skip counting, they're learning to count by different numbers, and they're also learning all the different ways to make 100. So then when you have all of those activities done and you have the different coins ways to make 100, then you could start introducing, okay, well, I do have a coin that's actually worth 100. Wow, 100. So if I can do 100 pennies, or I could do a coin that's worth 100 pennies, or I could do paper money, which is our dollar, that's also worth 100 pennies and the same value as the Lady Liberty coin. So now I'm getting into, the paper money, and that's the next step. So now I have $1, 100 pennies equals to 100 pennies. And I could do a variety of ways to demonstrate it. So I could put, $1 this way. So now I have what's equivalent to 200 pennies, and $1 this way, which also another 100 pennies. So So now I have 300 cents, which is $3.47. So as I continue to trade up, I'm gonna just put these back, sort of playing Jenga here with stacking these pennies. And now if I had 10 hundreds, so my 4 quarters are $1, and I could say, okay, I have 100, 200, 300, 400, 500, and I would have the kids, you know, each one could count out their 100, 600, 700, 800, 900, okay, you all know what happens when we get 947 pennies. Well, this next 100 is going to take us over the top. So now I have 1000, so I have to put a 1 over here because I have 1,000 pennies and I have 0 hundreds now. 1,047 pennies. Now, if I wanted to buy something for 1,047 pennies, most likely I wouldn't be going around with this. This is very heavy. So instead of having 1,000 pennies with me, I can trade those 1,000 pennies in, and instead I have my $10. So now I'm trading the 1,000 pennies in. I have $10. $10 is 1,000 pennies. And let's say I have another $1 here, or maybe $2 here. $1,247 pennies is $12.47. So now we're getting the idea of place value, we're getting the idea of trades and money, and these being symbols to represent all of these pennies. And this is something you can, you know, do many different things with this. And you have them first sort the coins, value the coins, then count different amounts. So let's say now I want to buy something for $5. What am I going to do? How am I going to pay $5? Okay, I might have to trade this in. I might have to trade in my 10 for 10 ones, and then I'll have 12 ones, 12 hundredths of pennies, and then subtract 5. So knowing how to subtract within whatever value you're given, and then throwing in, okay, now in real life, my decimal point is over here with my ones, tens, hundreds, thousands, but if my unit is a penny, that's where my decimal point would be. But in our money system, our unit is $1. So our decimal point would be here. So we would say $12, and then these are fractions of 100 when we're dealing with dollars. But here, we're not dealing with dollars, we're dealing with cents. So just so that you know the difference of how that decimal point moves depending on what we're dealing with. Okay, so here's a little bit about money, and I hope this helps you come up with activities that you can do to trade money, to add money, to subtract money, and to have the kids learn about how all that works. Okay, thank you. Bye-bye.